Welcome to the Rocket Roof Show, where we equip fellow roofers to do more commercial business every first and third Thursday of the month. It's time to launch your business to the next level.
This is Project Command. Stand by at power transfer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Roof Show. I'm your host, Andy Neer. I own Empire Contractors in West Michigan and also run a Commercial Roofers United page on Facebook. And I'm the host of this show here, the Rocket Roof Show, where we educate and equip roofers for the commercial roofing industry. I'm happy to have a guest here today, Craig, with me. Craig is from, is it Free U University?
Yeah, we call it Free U, but the full name is Freelance University.
Okay. So, I'll just let you jump in, introduce yourself, give you a little background of what you do, because it's a little bit foreign to some people in this trade. So, but tell us what you do and why it's a benefit to people like us.
Yeah. So again, my name's Craig, and I'm one of the founders of a business called Freelance University. And we basically provide education for people that want to do some sort of freelance thing. So if you've seen someone that's a graphic designer, we train those people. If you are a virtual assistant, which we'll talk more about what that is, people that run social media, all sorts of things. So we train them in areas so that they can support clients like all of you to help you with your marketing and help you grow your businesses and your brands as well. And so we've been doing that for about 13 years. We have students in about 75 countries. And when COVID happened, a lot of companies, I know roofing is a sort of a location-based job, but there were a lot of companies that had to go remote. They may have had an office, even your construction companies, they had to go virtual. And so suddenly our students became more relevant because people needed people that understood how to work remotely without being being babysit in an actual office. And that's where virtual assistants can play a huge role in your organization. So that's a bit about me. Okay.
So, I mean, we didn't really have a lot change with our business in roofing, but parts of our business changed, right? So like, of course, a lot more meetings happened on Zoom and other webinar platforms. And of course, a lot more people were like, just email that over to me. We don't need to do a personal visit. So even though we kind of think not a lot changed, everybody was touched a little bit, some more and some others. So I think this is a great topic. And so let's dive right in real quick. The obvious question, what exactly is a virtual assistant, or what a lot of people call a VA?
Yeah. So if you were to go to Google right now and type in the Google box virtual assistant, you might get a whole bunch of definitions. You might get like robots, like, you come to a website now and a bot pops up and it asks you, if they can help you. And it's actually not a person. It's what we call artificial intelligence. That is not what we're talking about today. We are talking about human virtual assistants. In other words, people that provide services in a whole variety of areas for your business, and they don't have to work in your office. They're remote, they're virtual. You could have a business in Western Michigan and be working with a virtual assistant in Southern California. And you might say, well, why would I want to work with a virtual assistant in Southern California? Well, they might have the exact skills and experience. They may have worked with other roofing companies. They may understand the construction industry. They also service other clients like you, but they happen to do it in a completely different location. But they still offer great services without actually being in your office physically. So they're a remote professional that typically work on a contract basis. So you don't have to hire them. You don't have to pay them benefits. They're not employees. They are project-based contractors, which a lot of construction companies now these days love them because they don't have to pay the benefits. They can pay them when they need work done, and they don't have to be sort of putting people on salary. And it's sort of streamlining their costs of sort of administration based work. So it's a sort of a win-win from a bottom line standpoint as well.
Sure. So what kind of tasks are appropriate for a VA?
Yeah, it's really opened up. We were talking on the outset about Tim Ferriss's book, some of you may have heard of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, as if that was possible. He tried to, sell the dream in the book. I think some people may be doing it.
Yep.
But in the book, and even in our work, a virtual assistant actually takes on many different meanings now. Initially, let's going back 13 years ago when we started, a virtual assistant was somebody that offered like almost administrative, secretarial kind of work remotely. So they might book appointments for the client. They might handle handle all the scheduling of appointments, meetings. Maybe if you're roofing, you're going for a variety of quotes for clients. They would handle your schedule, because if you're busy, and as many of you probably are, it's nice to have somebody on the back end that's got your back, that is managing your schedule, coordinating, maybe even managing your emails. You're getting emails coming in. You don't have time when you're on a job or you're out in the go to handle that email. So somebody's prioritizing it for you. And maybe a really important email that's come in, and they're going to send you a text and say, you got to grab this email. This is a big job that I know you've been waiting on. And so they become sort of your eyes and ears virtually for your business. And they take care of administrative stuff that some of you might say right now, that's not my bag. That's not my thing. I prefer to not do all the organizational administrative side of my business, and somebody handles that behind the scenes so I can do work that's helping me grow my business. So that's, we can get into the specific tasks, but that traditionally was what a virtual assistant does now, or back then. But today they've moved into a variety of other areas. So they might manage your website. So some of you have a website and you need to update your content, or you need to change your information, or you need to add a video on your work or an image. They're the one that's doing website maintenance work. So you don't go in yourself, they do it for you. Some of you have social media profiles, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, and you're showcasing your business that way, but you don't have time to post new content. You don't have time to comment when people are messaging you on Facebook looking for business. This person is the one that becomes your customer service rep through email, through social media. So they're like your point of contact. So they filter, almost like as a gatekeeper, filter all your sort of inquiries and then feed them to you, when you can actually deal with them. So they're handling a lot of things, from web to social media to virtual assistants to customer service. Lots of other, we could talk about a lot of other areas. They even manage podcasts like the one you have, where they will take care of all the audio and the editing, and you just come on and do your thing. So lots of areas.
So let me throw out a couple of these. What about if, because this is what I've used one for before, is I want this app, but I don't have the time to learn this app. And so I've had one guy, he learned it for me and then taught it to me. Mm-hmm. And, he learned all the inquiries, and he took like 10 or 15 minutes and broke it down. Do this, do this, do this. Don't do that. You don't need to worry about this part of it. That doesn't really matter. Concentrate on this. Because I know some guys, there's so many apps out there. I mean, there's new ones every day. Mm-hmm. And some of them, you don't have time to be like, well, these 4 don't work. I want to find the one that does work. By the time you do, technology's change. And so yes. Does that help a VA to kind of like discover new apps or programs that might benefit you without you having to do the background work?
Yeah, you bring up a great point. And another whole area that I actually didn't talk about, which is VAs coming on as your technology advisor, and because, as you said, I mean, there are apps coming out all the time that could help your business, but you need to figure out what they are and then how to use them. So they could come along and like you said, coach you on them so that you use them. They could also take over the tasks that's involved in the app. So for example, let's say you as a business, you want to build an email list. So you want to build an email list of potential customers that might turn into business down the road. And so you need to set up an email platform like MailChimp. And some of these names, those that are tuning in, you may have never heard of, but these are apps: MailChimp, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, tools like this that you've never dealt with, but there's VAs out there that can get it set up. They can get your automated emails in there. So when someone opts in, they get a confirmation email saying, thank you for this. We'll be contacting you in the next 48 hours. So it's all automated. And so what a VA does is come in and sort of streamline your back end, streamline your technology, as you said, Andy, and help you to maybe do business better because of these tools that you're using that you otherwise would have never heard of, or you don't have the time to use.
Yeah. Great. How about on the flip side? What if a roofer or contractor has a great idea and he's like, I want to build an app. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, great question. And then you're getting into, I mean, there are virtual assistants that have that technical ability, but then you're getting into more app developers. And
But
so
wouldn't the virtual assistant handle making that contact for you to contact because you don't speak that jargon?
absolutely. So
I mean, they're there for resources.
yeah. So one popular title that a lot of businesses are sort of hiring on these days is what we call online business managers. So they become sort of like your traditional office manager, but in a remote setting. So they are your point person for all your team members. They handle you, they manage your schedule, they manage your team schedule. And like you said, if you need to hire an app developer, they're going to go on to the platforms where app developers hang out, and they're going to try to get some quotes, get three quotes back from somebody that needs a new app, and then they'll bring that information to you. So they become your quarterback, your point person. And so that's a whole new sort of almost industry that's popped up under the umbrella of virtual assistants, but it's called either VBMs or OBMs, online business managers. And they are, for the people that hire them, they're indispensable because they know all the operation and they manage it, and they make basically that person and that business look good.
Wow, the world is changing.
It is indeed.
So where would I go to? Well, before I want to ask that question, because I know what Tim's answer in that book was what can't a virtual assistant do?
That's the question. I think when he wrote the book, there were some more limitations, in terms of, but the virtual assistant industry has grown, like I said, in so many different ways that if you're saying, hey, I'm setting up a YouTube channel for my roofing business because I want to showcase some of my work and I've got some videos up there. Now you can hire a VA to set up your YouTube channel, to upload your videos, to add all the titles. And so there's not too much that a virtual assistant can't do. I mean, you look at my team. I mean, I have a bookkeeper that I've never met, in 12 years. We've never actually sat down in person. She's my longest running team member, and she's a virtual bookkeeper. She wouldn't call herself a virtual assistant, but she would call herself a remote bookkeeper. And we pay her every month for the last 12 years. And I have a team of 12 other people that most of them I haven't met either, but I've handpicked them because of their skills in different areas. I have people that manage my schedule so that I'm organized and I'm attending podcast interviews as I should. And I have somebody managing my social media so that I'm not having to post new content in social media, so there's, I'm of the belief, and again, I've been in this industry for a while, and some of you, this might be new to you, but I'm of the belief that you can hire a really talented remote team without necessarily having a physical office, and they could be dialed into your 1-800 numbers. They could be your customer support people. They could be your first line of contact. So tons of opportunities.
We would like to take just a minute to thank our sponsor, Next Level Roofer. This informative masterclass debunks the myths and exposes the lies that may be holding you back from reaching the next level. Visit 360nextlevelroofer.com to register for the next event.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
I know some people might be thinking, well, would some of these virtual assistants be foreign or outside of the United States? Is that something to be scared of, or is there precautions other countries, is there regulations other countries put into place so that, because I know that is a big question a lot of people ask is, I'll probably get somebody from Bangladesh or the Philippines or something like that.
Yeah, and that's a real misconception because there are. So on my team, I have sort of an international team. So I have somebody that works in Bangladesh from us that's been with us for 10 years. But then I have somebody from the UK. I have somebody that lives in Tennessee, and so there's a big virtual assistant network in the US and in Canada and a lot of the Western world. And they will charge more because the economies obviously are different. But then you also get somebody that speaks your language, that understands your culture, that might have even worked with clients similar to the audience that you work with. And so they have that advantage, and sometimes their work can be faster and they get up to speed. So you might be paying a higher rate, but they're working at a faster rate. And so you're like, as opposed to hiring someone overseas that doesn't understand your work, that the dollar value is low, but they're working 10 times the hours to try to do the same output. And so in our industry and in my university, we train probably 90% Western. So we work with VAs throughout Europe, a lot in the US, a lot in Canada. And they just a lot of people, it tends to work well. If you're looking for somebody, let's say, to do just web design work for you, then outsourcing to an international sort of like offshore India, that works really well. Our graphic designer has been with us for 8 years and they're terrific. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to do a lot of different tasks, they'll be managing your schedule. They may be dealing with your customers. You may want somebody that understands your culture a bit more.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
So next question, where would one go to hire a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so lots of places. Let me rattle off a few options for you. So certainly you can go to places like Upwork. So Upwork is just upwork.com, and it's a big marketplace for freelancers. And so if you're looking for someone to set up a website, there's web designers. If you're looking for someone like you shared earlier to develop an app, there's app developers, there's virtual assistants. And so you basically sign up for free and you post your project and obviously be very specific of what you need. And then you'll start to get bids from all over the world of people that are interested in working with you. And you can even determine by location. If you say, I want to work with people in the state of Michigan, you'll only get bids from Michigan. So, or I want to work with people in the US or in North America. Or just in Canada, you could change that filter, determine what kind of bids you're going to get back. Okay, so it's a bidding marketplace of freelancers, and I think they have about 80,000 freelancers in that space and counting. Might be even up to 100,000 now. And then there's Fiverr. Some of you may have heard. It's just the number 5. And then it's, I think it's 5RR. And it's a place to get logos done, graphics done. If you need website work done, editing on your website, copy, like little projects, you can get it done there as well. That's another great place that I would check out. There's also VA agencies in the US, a number of them, Virtual Assist USA. They predominantly have US-based virtual assistants. So you're actually working with an agency that has 50 to 100 virtual assistants that they match you. And so that's like an agency idea. You could also come check us out. We're at freelanceu.com. We have a post a job area where you can just select post a job and put your needs, and then we'll match you. We'll connect you with a VA or freelancer. So a few different areas where you can find somebody to work with.
So that's a good clarification you make in case anybody's misunderstanding here. You don't actually do the hiring and the VA work. You train people. So
absolutely,
people will be hiring you. You're just, right?
Absolutely. So we train VAs on web design. We train them on social media, marketing. Okay. A lot of businesses don't want to do their own online marketing. So VAs do that work for them. And so we do all the training, and then we have a job board for companies like yours to come and post your projects of what you need. And maybe, and the thing is, it's not always a perfect match, but we'll send you a bunch of people, and then you can determine if it's going to be a good fit for you. And you can even do it on a very small trial basis, like dip your toe in the water and see, can I actually work with a virtual assistant? Yep. I would suspect that you will be able to.
Start with something small.
Yeah, start with a small project. We're not talking a 6-month gig. It might be, can you create a new logo for my business cards or for my website? And once that's done, you're like, okay, now I'd like a new website design done. And so you start to scale up the commitment and the budget and the project, sort of the scale of the project, once you've started to build trust and you like the work and the work's done well and on time.
So one thing that I'm thinking of while you're talking small projects is, we have a handbook. And for a long time, it was just in like a Word format. We'd print it off and we'd have a paper form. Well, then eventually I put it into a PDF, but it's still, it's not in a very attractive digital format. And let's say you wanted to spruce that up and sell it as an item on eBay. That would be a little project. Somebody because it would be monotonous for somebody in my office to do that. And it's not what we're good at. So something that's 26 or 30 page employee handbook would be something that these guys could handle?
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
so a lot of people are creating digital books. They're called now digital guides, and it could be for like it's almost like a digital brochure
Mhm.
or a marketing guide or an informational guide. And so they use tools like Adobe products that called InDesign, where you can design beautifully designed, very professional books. So that's that. If you were to go to a place like Fiverr, like I talked to you about, 5RR.com, and you put in help with ebook or help with guide or guide formatting, you would have a whole bunch of people that's what they do. They design it and they make your work look presentable and fit with your branding and your logo and your website colors and all that good stuff.
Sweet.
Hmm.
So let's get into the next part of it, which is how much does a VA cost?
Yeah, that's a really, I shouldn't say a loaded question, but it really depends. So like we talked earlier, you've got offshore VAs and you've got local VAs. Local, I mean like in your state, in your country, in your Western VAs. And so if you're looking offshore, yes, you could go to the Philippines and you could start at $5 to $8 an hour, in that range. And again, my encouragement, if you do that, be very, very clear on the exact task. If you're not clear and you're just testing the waters and going to offshore, then it may not work out. But you have to be very clear on the specific project that you want done. I need this ebook formatted, this 10-page ebook or guide formatted to fit my brand and to fit my website colors. Go. This is and they'll say, yeah, it's going to take us 20 hours at $8 an hour. It's going to be $160 or whatever the math comes out to be. So yeah, you could be dealing with $8 to $10 to $12 an hour. But if you're looking for someone local, I think if you're looking for someone more of an administrative, like they're handling your calendar, they're handling your email, they're scheduling for you, you might be more in sort of that $20 an hour range to start to get a really good person, $25 an hour. If you're looking for someone that becomes like your office manager, that's like, hey, they're coordinating all my team, they're going to be up a little higher. I mean, you might be moving into the 30 to 35 an hour. But keep in mind, that might seem high, but you're also not working with them 40 hours a week. They might be doing 10 hours of work for you a month to start with. But those 10 hours are used very well to kind of keep your business organized. And so I would say, virtual administration could be $20 to $30 an hour. I think if you're getting into specialized work, like the person's a web designer, they are a social media person, then you might be moving into a little higher, 30 to 40 an hour, because they're skilled in a specific platform or a specific sort of area. And so let's say, for example, some of you want to run Facebook ads. So you want to get ads. So you're promoting your roofing business through Facebook ads. Well, Facebook ads aren't easy to set up. You've got to have copy. You've got to have good images. You've got to be targeting the right audience. And so you need somebody that's skilled. So you might be looking at more 50 an hour for somebody that's doing sort of higher level work for you.
You got to look at what they're taking off your plate. They're doing it much better than you. And, you're not committed to them long term. So
absolutely. And the one thing is I know budget's important, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be very mindful of budget, but don't let budget stand in the way of quality. Yeah. You could go for the most reasonable VA, and then you realize the training time and they weren't the right fit. And suddenly I'm hours into this, whereas I could have spent more and then I would have had exactly what I needed. And wow, this person's actually worked with other roofing companies. So they actually know the language. They understand my business. And suddenly my training time has gone like this. It's really short.
So am I responsible for any other costs other than their hourly rate, like taxes, health benefits, anything like that?
Yeah, nothing like that. And that's where the real power, even in our sort of uncertain economy right now, that's where virtual assistants become very attractive, because they're project-based. You don't have to pay them a salary. And you don't have to pay them specific benefits. They will, and they often work with multiple clients. So they might work with you for 20 hours a month. They might have 3 other clients they work with 10 hours a month, 15 hours a month. And so, yeah, it's based on your need. And then the other great thing is you get to build your dream team. So sometimes if you're trying to hire somebody locally, you've got to work with what you got to work with what you have locally. And there may be some great people locally and there may not. Whereas with us, I have a team all over the US and Canada for the most part. And I have handpicked what I say the best people that understand my business and will make us shine the most. And so now I call them my dream team because they are talented, they're motivated. And I think some people get a little weary saying, but they're virtual. Like, how do I know they're not doing, like, how do I know they're actually doing good work? Well, the proof's in the puddings. It's all about results. Just like if you do your business and you're in the roofing business and it's not done properly, it affects your business. It affects your credibility. You don't want that. And it's the same as a VA. There's no benefit to a VA to rip you off because it's only they want referrals. They want testimonials. They want people saying, I loved working with this person. So there's huge incentive. And the other thing is you're not working with, and this is a big one to think about for those listening, you're not working with an employee, you're working with an entrepreneur like yourself. And so entrepreneurs are a different breed. They're motivated, they're self-directed. The buck stops with them. Whereas when you work with an employee and you're salarying one of your people, there is a different mindset as opposed to someone that's their own boss and running their own show and they're motivated. So you're dealing with a different kind of element as well in that regard.
So that leads me to another question. When you said that, is there any kind of, as you said, referral or recommendation, is there any kind of tracking on any of these platforms where it says, this guy is better, this guy is not got good reviews, anything like that?
Yeah. So if you work with platforms, like I said earlier, Upwork.com, Fiverr.com, they all are built, they're like a social review engine. Just like if you were going to watch a movie and you checked out Rotten Tomatoes or you were on a Google review for a restaurant, very much it'll show their comments, it'll show the ratings on a 5-point scale. And those ratings don't lie. They will tell you. So, and often if they're coming in at a 4.8 out of 5 and they have 600 reviews, there's a good chance that this person knows their stuff. You can't fake that, as well. Or some of you may use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a place where people can do recommendations to other people, professionals. And so you can look at some of the recommendations and say, wow, they seem to really know their stuff. And so yes, the answer is yes, you can vet them. And even in a place like Upwork, you could say, I only want to get bids from people that are 4.5 out of 5. Like their ratings are almost 100%. Okay. And I'm only going to get bids from those people. So it's really a qualified base of people that you're going to be reaching out to.
Is there any kind of protection on there? How do you know that somebody's not sharing your information or any kind of private, information, or maybe you're doing something that's not copyrighted or not patented yet, but you don't want people to steal it? Or are you kind of out there with no protection?
No. So when you're working outside of those marketplaces have protections where they have to sign terms to say that they will not steal your patented information, your copyright information. That's all clearly laid out. But if you're working one-to-one with a VA, often they will have an agreement, or you could even get an agreement that just puts in place that, hey, you cannot steal or manipulate anything to do with my intellectual property of my business. So as long as it's laid out in a contract and two parties have agreed to it, again, there's a risk in business working with people all the time. You even as clients, you could think, well, they're going to be a great client, and they turn into a nightmare client. That they're always asking for more stuff, and you never realize that until you got in there. But if you have a contract in place, there's some legally binding things that protect you.
Okay. So getting on the home stretch here, one of the last questions I have here is, what kind of questions should I ask during an interview of a VA?
Yeah, a few different things. So if you're working with a VA, the first thing is you want to find out if they have any experience related to your industry. So they may not work directly with roofers, but they may work with related contractors, and they may have worked in the housing industry, in the construction industry, or the residential construction industry. And so that's always a great fit if you could find somebody that understands that industry to a certain degree. It's not required, but that's ideal. I think also it's important to ask them, why they would want to do the work because you will have laid out a project. And you might want to say, well, why would this work be a good fit for you? Explain why your personal qualities and your skills and everything. Why do you think it's a good match that I will be obviously satisfied with your work as well? One of the things that we hire on, and some of you may have your own hiring sort of strategies, but we always hire on what we call the 3 C's in our company. We hire on character. So we look for people that are good people, and you won't know it fully in a conversation, but often, you'll know sometimes just by the way the person talks, you'll get a feel for whether they seem like a good person. So we hire on character, we hire on competency. So does their website and their reviews and everything show that they are a good professional? So do they have good competency? And you'll realize that by doing a small project first. And you'll say, yep, I like their work. I'm ready to move forward with something bigger. And the other one is compatibility. So sometimes, as you all know, there's personalities that you work with and other personalities that you're like vinegar and what's the expression? Oil and vinegar, like you just clash. Yep. And so you'll know as you have a meeting with them and you're like, wow, the personality and everything, they seem like a nice person, but I don't think I'm going to match with them. And so we often look on character, competency, and compatibility. And those have never steered us wrong as we sort of try to work with remote people. I think the other thing is it's good to find virtual assistants. I know there's new ones out there, but that are just starting, but it's good to find people that have experience working remotely with companies. They're used to managing a company without being inside an office. And so that they're self-directed, they're independent, they can work virtually. So
yep.
A few ideas.
So I just want to tag something on the end of there is when you're talking to them, should a virtual assistant, let's say he is $25 an hour, but should he have a good idea to say this project should take me 6 hours or 12 hours, or is it a red flag when they say, I don't know really how long this is going to take me?
Well, it's always a red flag, of course. I mean, you want to have, you don't have an open-ended budget. Yep. I imagine all of you you have a finite sort of marketing budget or budget for your team. So yeah, let's use the example you said earlier of I need a book or a guide created that's like 20 pages. If they've done this work, they should know that roughly this kind of work would take me X number of hours, because I usually takes me about, 20 minutes a page or 15 minutes a page. And so I start to add it up, and they typically will give you a guesstimate. So they'll give you a range saying this book at $20 an hour will take me 8 to 10 hours. So we're looking at somewhere between $160 and $200, somewhere in that range. Okay. And so yeah, you want to have especially when you're starting with a small project, you want a range that you're working with, so it doesn't get out of hand. Okay.
Well, hey, that's all my questions. I think I got you pretty good with a lot of questions. Is there anything I missed? Anything you think that would be important for our industry with a virtual assistant?
I would say that, the world's changing, and even when social media came on the scene, it changed how we communicated with our customers. And I think the world of work is changing even during COVID-19, that we're seeing companies that were not remote and now they're working remote, and they're actually staying that way because their employees are happier and they're realizing, yeah, we can get good work done and not be in the same office together. So I wouldn't, just because virtual assistant might be a foreign concept to you, I wouldn't let it prevent you from testing the waters. And it's not like you have to have a huge budget allotted for a virtual assistant. You start with a small project. And if it's someone that's doing administrative work for you, try them for a month. Book a month and say, okay, I'm going to book you for 10 hours at, let's say, $25. So I'm allotting $250 to this little experiment. And if it works well, it could benefit my company. If it doesn't, well, I've lost $250. At least I made an effort to see if this could work. And I guarantee you, companies that never thought they would use virtual assistants are suddenly benefiting financially, and their systems are more streamlined, and they're just running a better business than they ever have. So just because it's new doesn't mean you shouldn't try it.
Okay, cool. So just for full disclosure here, lady named Diana actually does a lot of the background work, the scheduling, contacting guests and everything for this program here, Rocket Roof Show. I've never met her, but probably couldn't even tell you what state she's in. But she's always on top of things. She does all the scheduling, and I don't have to worry about all of the, sometimes a guest, it takes 1 or 2 times to line up an appointment. Sometimes it takes 10 or 12. And, but it's nice to know that she lines all that up for me. And she happens to be a student of your university.
She is. Yeah.
And so that's how we got connected. And, so yeah, I mean, it's like you said, the world's changing. I'm a contractor, so I feel that resistance of like, oh, can't we just do it like we've always done it? But yeah, it's also liberating to know that, well, if it's there in the UK, sometimes people are doing work while you're sleeping, and the work's done when you wake up next morning. And
absolutely.
So that's that in itself offers us so many other options of people that can get work done that are better than us, different times of the day than us, and without having commitments and long-term employment contracts. So I love the talk we've had here, and I appreciate your time with us tonight. And if there's anybody that wants to reach out to you and get your contact information or ask you some questions, do you have any ways that people could contact you?
Yeah, you can just go to freelanceu.com, and there is a tab that says post a job. So if you're saying, yes, I'm ready to test the waters, I'd like to try out a virtual assistant, we have sort of trained, qualified VAs that you might consider, in addition to all the other areas I talked to you about as well. So come check us out at freelanceu.com. We've got contact forms if you need to ask us any questions at all. And
like you said, there's no cost to that, no commitment. It's just a job board, right?
Just a job board. It's free. Okay. You don't have to, you could test the waters. If it doesn't work, then again, there's no money that you've allotted to it. So,
okay. Well, Craig, I really appreciate you being on. I really appreciate how you can put it in practical terms for everybody to understand, and onward and upward into the future. So I hope you have a good 2021. It sounds like your business is really taking off with the current situation, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Andy. All the best to you.
You've been listening to the Rocket Roof Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe through your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Google Play to get the latest episodes as they are launched. For more, please follow us on social media or visit our website at rocketroofshow.com. We look forward to joining you here again soon at the next launch.